going on, guys? David Eichel here for HawkeyeInsider.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Thought I'd just do a quick live on this since it's obviously huge news of the Iowa women's basketball world. McKenna Woliczko has officially committed to the University of Iowa, and Jen Jensen. And I got to say right off the cuff, I mean, this is a massive win's an understatement. I think she's probably one of the biggest recruits in program history, just when you consider the fact that she really had no prior connections to Iowa outside of just the AAU circuit. Obviously, Team USA, Iowa's brand has been elevated to a national level. I think when you look at the roster and the way it's kind of composed between people from all walks of life. I mean, look at Chit Chat Wright. They got Georgia Tech. Emily Rodriguez, the UCF transfer from Dominican Republic. Layla Hayes from Alaska. Addie Deal, California. Obviously, Iowa's always been good about keeping a lot of the local talent at home as a Hawkeye. But to get Woliczko, who I think is the top 3 player in the class. She's ranked number 6 by Brandon Clay, who nobody's more tuned into the women's recruiting world than Brandon Clay. And I have a lot of respect for his opinion and what he's been able to do throughout his career and the sources he's built and how long he has been around the game. But, you know, Woliczko is just it could be a potential game changer for Iowa. I know a lot of people have heard me talk about, you know, dudes recruit dudes. Well, this is Hoopers recruit Hoopers, man. And you look at the way everything's composed with 5-star Addie Deal in the last recruiting cycle. Layla Hayes is already off to a flying start. As you know, Iowa's, I don't want to say 6th woman at this point, but I think she needs to be heavily involved in the rotation along with Ava Height. And I think they both know that there's going to be 2 different sort of roles for them. And they're 2 different post players too. I think at the end of the day, they realize that they're going to be matched up better against some teams and they're going to have to work alongside one another. They've pushed each other in practice, but for Woliczko to commit to Iowa over, you know, USC has a lot of momentum right now. Obviously, with Juju Watkins, she is out this upcoming season, but they've been crushing the recruiting world. You look at South Carolina, who I think is the cream of the crop in the sport. Obviously, UConn would have a say in that. But what South Carolina's done with Dawn Staley and the roster they've composed, they really wanted Woliczko. They really wanted Woliczko. I think she would have thrived in that system. I think she would have learned a lot watching Chloe Kitts this season. I think 2 of their games are pretty similar, but Woliczko is going to be an immediate plug-and-play player for Iowa. I think she can guard positions 1 to 4. Maybe she can guard an undersized 5, has tremendous quickness, great athleticism. She is recovering from kind of that torn ACL at this point that she suffered about eight months ago or so. So that'll be a big benchmark when she hits the 9-month mark. But she worked on a 3-point range, worked on a lot of her film steady. I still think she's going to be the same caliber of athlete. And I'm of the belief also where if she didn't tear her ACL, she's probably a top 3 player in the class. I still think she could be if she has a strong senior season. But yeah, I mean, you want to talk about keeping the momentum with the Caitlin Clark and elevating the brand of Iowa women's basketball. Jan Jensen in her 2nd year going into California and pulling off, I think, again, arguably the nation's best wing 3-4 combination with the capability of guarding a 2. I think she can guard some, you know, bigger point guards as well. That sort of defense versatility is major. But the other component, and it's very obvious when you watch her film, and I've talked to a few AAU coaches, I've talked to some people involved with Team USA basketball, Brandon Clay, as I mentioned, she's one of the top rebounders in her class. Like her relentlessness on the glass is infectious. I think she's only about 6'2", but she's got long arms. She has a great second jump, which I think people kind of undervalue at times. Yes, you can be 6'6", you can grab all the rebounds, barely jumping, but to have a good second bounce and that little second burst, I think that's going to be huge for Woliczko. Now, what made Woliczko commit to Iowa? I think there's a variety of things. One, the role. I mean, Hannah Stolke is going to be moving on after this season. Woliczko is the one who's going to start at the 4 next year. I just don't see a way that she doesn't. I think she's too talented to keep off the floor. I think she's exactly what Iowa needs offensively and defensively. Number 2, the culture Iowa's built. Yes, it started with Lisa Bluter. I think you need to give Jan Jensen credit for continuing that culture. And I think everybody that's involved in Iowa women's basketball and that knows Jan Jensen knew that she was going to be able to continue that. She's played a big part over the last 2 decades or so. It's also different when you're the head coach. And it's very apparent after talking to some sources that, McKenna loved the culture at Iowa. The plug and play obviously helps, but the chemistry she had with the team during her visit was a very big selling point too. I think McKenna tweeted out the video. I also tweeted out. She got the video staff of Iowa to record the team's reaction when McKenna actually announced her commitment. And I think you saw the look on, especially Layla Hayes' face, that this is going to be a major deal. And they know what kind of hooper she is. So I think the chemistry she developed with the team throughout her time being recruited, and especially on her official visit, really, really helped sell the vision. And I think ultimately it was the connection with Jan Jensen. Again, as I just said, how genuine Jan Jensen is and how respected she is. And you think about Jan Jensen's reputation with post players. I think the track record speaks for itself, and Woliczko has a lot of versatility with this. But again, Woliczko coming to Iowa, having no prior connections, and Iowa really establishing that sort of coast-to-coast recruiting, I don't think that can be undervalued, especially when you look at Woliczko. She has 2 gold medals with Team USA under 18. She's teammates with Addison Bjorn, who's another one of top of Iowa's targets. She visited officially this past weekend as well. There's a lot of interesting pieces moving with Iowa women's basketball, and it's not going to surprise me if Woliczko immediately becomes a recruiter for the Hawkeyes. She's kind of got that personality. I believe we are going to hear more from Woliczko later today. She has a kind of a web press conference set up. I believe it's going to be 5 p.m. Central Time. So we'll have quotes and analysis from that either tonight or tomorrow morning. I am on vacation. I'm out of state right now, but I will be paying attention to kind of everything that goes on. But for Iowa to get Woliczko, I think it was so vital. And I think this, again, makes a national standpoint and national kind of talking point that Iowa is capable of going in to California and luring away top talent. They're able to go to Florida and kind of lure away that top talent. Like Iowa, just from a national branding standpoint, I think that shows a lot about just the growth. Obviously, Caitlin springboarded it, right? But it's another thing to have staying power. And if Iowa keeps landing these high caliber recruits, you're going to be able to stay. You're going to be able to continue to recruit these high level players. Of course, it's important for Iowa to have a big year this year. But then you get sophomore Addie Deal. You get junior Ava Hyden. You get sophomore Layla Hayes. You get Emily Rodriguez, Chit Chat Wright. Taylor McCabe, Kylie Fierbach are going to both be moving on. Hannah Stolke. There are actually no pure juniors in this class, I believe. So Iowa's going to have some versatility if they want to go out and explore that transfer portal. But obviously, like I mentioned earlier, they're still after Addison Bjorn. They're hosting Jenica Lewis, I believe, the 24th of October from Johnson, Iowa. That's a top Iowa target. She'd fit in very well with the system. Bjorn, I think it has another 4 official visits to a variety of places. I think UConn's going to be a big factor in this recruitment as well. I know she's going to be visiting Kansas here shortly, but for Iowa to be able to go land someone of Woliczko's upside, she's such a high floor as a player too, and I think she fits in perfectly on both sides of the ball with what Iowa wants to do. She rebounds like a 6'5" player at 6'2". She's quick. Evolving offensive game, hustle. Interesting comment. I believe she told Ramona Shelburne of ESPN that one of the players she kind of models her game after and she really enjoys watching is Lexi Hull. And I think if anybody watches WNBA, they watch the Fever. Lexi Hull is the ultimate hustle player, glue player, gets beat up a lot, but you don't win championships without players like Lexi Hull on that roster. I did find it interesting, though, where, again, if you watch the video I tweet out and she tweeted out, it sounds like she's going to be taking number 20. It's kind of a high praise to get Kate Martin's number. But, I think their games are very, very similar in a lot of ways, except Woliczko's taller. But in terms of heart, can do a lot of different things. I think Addie Deal plays a lot like Kate Martin, though, too. Obviously, need to go out there and earn that toughness and that sort of reputation. But there's a lot of really good things, I think, going on with Iowa women's basketball. I do anticipate that we hear more potential news probably sometime in the next month, but we're going to be able to see about that. So Anyway, we have a lot more stuff on HawkeyeInsider.com. I just want to pop into a quick little live for the people who want an immediate recap. We have commitment profiles. We're going to have full quotes later. I have an initial story up. If you missed any part of this, this also going to be up at HawkeyeInsider.com. Major win for Jan Jensen, Lysandra Barrett, Abby Stamp and company going to California. Get one of the nation's top recruits. Again, stay locked in to HawkeyeInsider.com.